It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
Hi, my name's Shana Solomons. I'm a client service manager for EMP Retail Payment Solutions.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Salma Isaacs. I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist at Chris Barnard Hospital, Cape Town.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fairuz Davids. I direct an inpatient rehabilitation treatment program called Kensington Treatment Centre. I'm a social worker by profession.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mushfika Bota. I'm a media and communication specialist in the consumer debt management and cultural industry.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Shamila Phillips. I am a manageress of a production accounting service provider called Moneypenny, and I also am a production accountant in the film industry.
There is a level of media focusing on Muslim women. Focusing on Muslim women being oppressed. Funnily enough, women are being raped and killed all over Africa. Women in some countries still don't have the right to vote. Women in first world countries are being oppressed. Women in first world countries are not earning what their counterparts are earning. But funnily enough, what people are interested in is that women in Saudi Arabia can't drive. Really. I mean, we are as a species experiencing so much. We are experiencing violence, we are experiencing abuse, we are experiencing so many things. But the media can focus on the fact that Muslim women don't drive.
And sometimes if you're driving anyway and you see how some people drive, you often wish that the rule could apply to you, yeah?
Yeah,
you don't have to drive because it's so stressful.
But what I'm
you
saying
know,
is that
and people, drivers, male particularly, are so aggressive on the roads often. Impatient, aggressive on the road, and you're too scared to say anything in case there's a backlash, you know.
But I think the point that you make is valid, because it's a principal issue, isn't it? Yes. It's the same as you focus on the little things when there's so when they talk about abuse, they automatically focus on Muslim women because only Muslim women are abused. As you say, there's abuse across the world. Abuse doesn't ask for religion.
Yes.
It's across, but it does. The spotlight seems to be, as soon as you know, oppression, the minute you wear a scarf, you must be oppressed, because why would you want to wear a scarf?
Would anybody think, I'm always if somebody says to me, why do you wear a scarf? It's my conscious choice. Yeah. It's my conscious choice to do so. I don't feel oppressed because I'm wearing a scarf. But the media shines its spotlight on somebody that covers, on a Muslim woman that covers her hair, and they say she's oppressed. But a nun is not oppressed, but I'm oppressed. Or somebody else that wears a scarf and covers, a Muslim woman that covers her hair is oppressed. But somebody else from a different faith is deeply religious and content.
Islamically, if you knew, why does a woman not drive in Saudi Arabia, for example? It's because they are protected. Their women are protected. They do not expose their women in that way. That is why they don't drive. Why were we told to wear a scarf? Because we are closing our private parts. People don't understand it that way. So maybe we should go out there and do another program as to why this is, and that we teach people and make it known to them that it is actually not oppressed.
Sometimes they just hear the bad parts, that's the culture part and not the religious part. But I think if we model the way Muslims are, that would also go a long way, you know.
I mean, just to add to everybody, I think what we need to remember is that every woman should be celebrated in whatever context they find themselves in. Whether it's the high-end successful woman, whether it's a woman that's just putting the meal on the table each day for the kids and not being able to even work because she's not empowered with education. I think for all the women out there, I think it's a celebration in itself, just being a woman. The issue is not whether Allah has permitted us to have babies or not, etc. Because there are women that don't carry children in their lifetime, and that's Allah's will, of course. But every woman, child or no child, and every man that Allah has given them their task, it's a celebration of being a female.
Women should be celebrated. And the fact that someone's a mother only and that they don't work, whether they're educated or not, does not diminish who they are as a woman.
Absolutely.
They're equally successful. And I think we often don't give them enough credit. And I think that's which comes back down to success. Because I think we often think you can only be successful if you have a career, if you do all of those things. I have no clue what it's like to be a mother, but I'm sure that it can be challenging, that there must be a million things that needs to happen. So I think it's about celebrating women in general, irrespective of what they do or your social standing.
How many women actually are aware of the fact that the money that they earn is theirs?
The
You know,
property that
they own is theirs.
Yeah.
But again, we are so into what society has molded us into. We are living in, again, I think this definitely makes has grounds here, is the economic situation that we find ourselves in these days forces a woman to take the money that she earns and put it into her
And
household.
it's a gift she makes to do that.
Exactly,
It's a
but I
choice.
don't think that women give themselves enough credit for doing that. We find it and we make it, it's supposed to be like that. It's not.
We do ourselves an enormous disservice as Muslim women by not knowing our rights as Muslim women. And I think, because there are two parts to it. There's the democracy. We live in a very secular society and we do particular things, but at the same time, we're Muslim first. And as Muslim women, I don't think we know enough about our rights as Muslim women, which is why when we come back to some of the abuse stuff, we assume that that's it. And we forget that there's culture and then there's Muslim rights.
Yes.
And I think if we try hard enough to empower ourselves and to educate ourselves as to what the rights are that we have as a Muslim woman, not just as a Muslim in a secular society, as a Muslim woman, I think we may shape society differently.
Are we doing enough as a society to get the proper information out there? How accessible is this information? We all know that I'm very, very lucky. Alhamdulillah, shukr to Allah. I have managed to get farther in my profession than what somebody else could have because I have amazing support structure. I have the most amazing support structure. I'm a single mother, but I have my amazing mom that lives with me. I have an unmarried brother who is absolutely wonderful with my kids. He loves me. I have a brother who lives around the corner from me. I have a full-time domestic. I have my children who get picked up in the morning for school with taxis and they get dropped in often with taxis again. My support structure is there. So should I want to go out and learn, should I want to go out and empower myself, my support structure is as such that I'm capable of doing that. But I'm always in the position, because I'm a single mom, I'm always in the position saying, what about all those other single moms that don't? They don't have that. And there are so many women who are literally working 12-hour days just to survive.
We are judged as strong women, and they assume that because we are so strong, we're wanting to take the role of the man. And I think there's a fine balance between that, because I don't think that's necessarily it, because you're strong in your own right. The man has his place and you have your place, and you're equally strong. And I think that's another important thing that I think we have to remember.
But that only comes with your empowerment and your education. That level of understanding can only come with that. But we're sitting with a society where we're looking at across the board. If we're looking at the majority of women, I'm talking about lower to middle class. We're sitting in a society where most women are finding themselves in a position where they have to work. But they don't realize how awesome it is, the fact that you actually are working and contributing. And you don't have to. Again, it comes down to what we know as our rights as women. And I think as a society, we're doing a huge injustice and a disservice to women by not getting out information as much as we can, and not making information accessible, making people feel free to ask. I've sat in Islamic institutions with women, with groups of women, and nobody says a word. Hoekom? Ons wil nie vra nie.
What's important as women is to embrace the many differences also that we have in our own homes, within our communities, to be more receptive. But I think most importantly is that as women, we do have a role. You know, I think we're very blessed, and most men wouldn't like to hear this, but to say that we are better at multitasking than men. We can do hundreds of things at the same time. And especially in a situation where you feel down, where you feel not supported, you forget that. You forget that you've raised the child, you run your homes, you're able to see that there's food in the house. On a very tight budget, you manage to feed your family. So we forget, like you say, it's the little things also.
Do you find that pregnancy, even though it's a societal, it's what happens in society, women are having to be, they have to make excuses for it. It's like, I'm sorry I fell pregnant and I'm now having to take maternity leave. And I'm sorry I fell pregnant and now I actually have to go and see a doctor once a month. And I'm sorry I fell pregnant. And, you know, I just find that so many women are not getting the support that they should be getting in their workplaces when they do fall pregnant.
You find this lack of empathy. And I think it's purely because being a woman, you're expected to do the multitasking and not complaining. And I think pregnancy in itself has got limitations, and it does unfortunately appear like an illness often when it's actually not. But for some women, their pregnancies are harder than others. I mean, I flew through all my pregnancies. Alhamdulillah, I was lucky in that sense. And other women tend to have it a bit harder. So from that point of view, yes, it's a huge challenge for women in the workplace when they're pregnant. And my empathy is with all my patients who currently are struggling with cases against them for having absenteeism, etc. For reasons that are obviously related to medical issues in pregnancy. So that's probably one of the biggest topical issues amongst all women in society today.
We need to get to the point where we say, damn, I'm awesome. Just for getting through this day, for raising my children, for raising probably somebody else's child who's now my spouse, for raising a family, for going through the daily motions of the carpooling, of the school, of the work, of having a career. And even if I don't have a career, what I am doing is so freaking awesome. I am enough. You know what? I don't think we do that enough for ourselves. But then again, I also don't think that we are exposed to that enough. I think women should start encouraging other women more and empowering women more. And if you see somebody is not having a good day, you know what?
Make them have a good day.
Do that little bit extra. But women should be getting to the point where, you know what? Just what I am doing is freaking awesome.
Men and women certainly do have a role. And I'm no feminist by a long shot. But certainly a male has a role in Islam, and so does a female. And I think where I speak from now as a mother and a wife is probably that, you know, being a doctor, doing my full-time job, you talk about a 12-hour job, I've probably got a 24-hour job, 7 days a week, all through the year. It still requires my husband to be there when I'm not in the house, to take charge of the house. As much as we are the sort of main caregiver, I think my husband also does his part. And the acknowledgement of that is probably the crux of success in a married life as a Muslim female in the workplace as well. Because both have their places. And I think I'm certainly no feminist, but I do believe that Shanaz did touch on a very important point, that amongst all this discussion we've just had, what comes to the fore is that all of us have achieved things in a manner that's been owed to us for hard work and dedication and commitment.
My dream is for women to believe in themselves and to believe that they can be whomever they want to be.
My dream is for the children that I have, my 3 beautiful children, that they, and all the children that we interact with and all the children in the world probably at large, that they achieve the biggest things in their life and achieve the biggest potential that they can possibly achieve, whether it be professionally or in any other sphere of their lives.
My dream is that our communities become empowered sufficiently to support all women who live in it.
My dream is that my beautiful 10-year-old daughter Amina and all her friends and every other little girl out there, Muslim or not, grows up knowing how valuable and how awesome they are. It's also my wish that my 15-year-old son Muhammad and his peers grow up respecting women, grow up knowing what it is to have respect and tolerance.
My dream is that every woman, in her right as a woman, will always be the pillar and strength of the family, of the vocation, of the position that she will hold. Therefore, women must not stop empowering each other.